All right, everyone, welcome to the Tonto's Demise Week 6 recap. This was another interesting week. Some Monday Night Magic for a few people. Another exciting week when it comes down to multiple Monday night matchups. Multiple matchups coming down to Monday night. I don't really like this multiple Monday night games, but it seems like it's going to be happening more often than it has this year than it has before. I think we have another one coming up next week or the week after. No, I think there's another doubleheader this week. I don't really like that, but it does set us up for more matchups to come down to Monday night. But the stress of waiting and having to see what happens with your matchup, especially when you're close enough that it could go either way. We don't need that extra stress in our lives, guys. But I'll have to write Roger Goodell an angry letter. All right. We had some more. Another week of guys going down. I don't think there were any season-ending injuries, but we had enough to shake things up this week. But let's get right down to business, and we'll start, as always, with the defending champion. This year, it is, of course, Possum Magic, and the Monday Night Magic actually came down to in favor of the Shawshank Athletics. Going up against Possum Magic here, Shawshank pulls out a victory, 171.75 to 158.95. Now, Josh, if you had lost this matchup with Possum Magic's quarterback scoring 14 points, you probably would have had to retire from the league in shame. But fortunately for you, your number one pick, Bijan, has been one of the steadiest overall picks of the entire first round. A lot of guys have been hit or miss or just misses in general. But Bijan has been bringing it pretty much every single week for you. He had one of the only binks for this week. He had a huge score. But anyway, what do we got for Shawshank? Patrick Mahomes gets 56. Debo only 5.5. What was your Monday night stuff here, Josh? You had Debo, you had Bijan, you had Cole Kmet plugged in because Dalton Kincaid was out. You had Bill, we're just going to refer to him as Bill now, Ja'Cory Krosky-Marin, he's just Bill. And then you had Washington's defense also. So you had 1, 2, 3, 4, half your lineup going on Monday night, and you were trailing by was about 50 points or so. But yeah, Bijan pretty much did that all by himself. Fortunately for you, because the other four did not do too much. Waddle went for 17. Alec Pierce goes for 7. Again, Bijan with his bink ends up with 41.8. And then as we remember, Scatabo on Thursday night, he rushed for 3 touchdowns, 31 points there. So 70 plus from your running back combo and 56 from your quarterback. The rest of your team pretty much just has to show up, Josh, and you've probably got a W. Although it ended up being a little tricky, not going to lie. Cole Kmet only got you 1 point. Probably could have just saved yourself the transaction in hindsight there. Bill went for 6. The Clit gets -2. His only 2 kick attempts. He missed them. 1 field goal and 1 PAT. That might be a new record. I'll have to check the Tonto's Demise record book. If not broken, tying a record for kicking points, kicking point futility, I should say, at -2. And then the Washington Commanders defense, Yahoo says 9. I think the actual score was 12. But yeah, Bijan showed up for you in your time of need. And the rest of the guys got just enough to get you that, 13-point victory. For Possum Magic, obviously, Justin Fields only goes for 14.5 points. Huge killer there with your quarterback score. When you're said you lost by over 40 in comparison to your opponent. Sutton only 2.5. Jacoby Myers 8. The Olive gets you 16. Putting up a lot of catches this year, but not a lot of touchdowns or anything. So racking up catches, getting you some points. Derrick Henry goes for 17. He gets over 100 yards. Jonathan Taylor, a couple more touchdowns. He's got 27 points or so. Goddard goes for 9. That was Thursday night. 9 catches, over 100 yards and a touchdown, 26 points there. So yeah, this was a great matchup after Thursday night. Goddard and Scatabo, each guy's going for about almost 30 points. Diggs in the flex there, only 6 points from him. I think he must have he spent all of his effort for the whole year, I think, on his rematch with Buffalo last week. I think I'll say if Stephon Diggs was your fab budget, I think he blew the whole load last week on his matchup with Buffalo. See, when do they play Buffalo again this year? Week 15, first round of the Tonto's playoffs. So he's going to save it up for that next matchup probably. So let's see. Then another crazy thing here. I don't know how he does it. Trisa just randomly picks up a kicker who gets him almost 20 points. Pinheiro from San Francisco gets you like 18.5 points, just plucked off the waiver wire. Almost 20 points from a kicker. And then Tampa Bay's defense did pretty good. Yahoo says 18. Looks like you got a 6-point bump to 24. Pretty good there. But yeah, you just got killed by the quarterback play of Justin Fields. Cortland Sutton didn't really do anything. But yeah, when you're outscored by your opponent's quarterback by over 40 points, not looking good for you there, Possum Magic. And with this victory, Shawshank, he moves to 4-2, and he takes over first place from Darkwing Jet, who's been there for quite a while. But yeah, Shawshank, thanks to that big Bijan score, he sneaks his way to the top of the standings. We'll see how long he can stay there. Possum Magic, he drops to 3-3, although he is in 4th place, because he's 3-3, just like, I think about half the league. All right, then we will just go straight down the line here. We've got the Wizard of Wimber going up against Darkwing Jet, the powerhouse of the league so far. And compliments to Brian for putting the hex on Justin's team. Also, Brian, I forgot to mention, your team is trash. Complete, total garbage, top to bottom, front to back, up and down and up. Your team is trash. Anyway, I can't believe I forgot to do that right out of the gate. Anyway, fortunately we mentioned you, so you had to remind me here. But yeah, now Justin probably thinks you're trash too for talking all those putting all that. All those glowing reviews of his team out into the ether for the fantasy gods, who they're always listening, Brian. They're always listening. And yeah, the Wizard of Wimber pulls out a victory here in a matchup you guys weren't even going to bother discussing in the podcast last week. 147.35 to 145.5. Nobody wanted to win this one, but somebody had to. I think I was down about 20 points going into Monday night with Shakir, DJ Moore, and I ended up having to pick up Washington kicker Matt's Gay because, of course, the kicker I picked up because he was done with his bye week, so I could just plug and play, or set it and forget it, I should say, for the rest of the year. The Packers kicker, and of course, he gets injured. So I got to waste a tranny picking up another kicker. Somehow I don't have the touch, the kicker touch that Boston Magic does. Would have saved me a lot of trouble here, squeaking out the victory. But anyway, excuse me. Drake May goes for 48. Puka, please God, Puka, be okay. He gets only 5 points here. Shakir's only 6. DJ Moore gets 8. Travis Etienne, 9.5. Travion, only 4.5. Ferguson goes for 12.5. Jahmyr Gibbs, only 7.5. Nats Gay gets me about 7.5. And then the biggest factor here, saving me this week, was Denver Broncos defense. Yahoo says 15. The actual total was 39. So an extra 24 points here. Saved my ass this week because, let's just be honest, I got absolutely lucky. Because, said thanks to Brian had to go and run his mouth about Justin's team. And Darkwing Jet this week got bit by the injury bug. And Egbuka goes down, Harrison goes down, and Njoku goes in and out of the game with an injury this week. Baker Mayfield goes for 40. Tet gets 2 touchdowns, only 3 catches, but 2 of them are touchdowns. Gets you 18. Then Egbuka, said one of the top wide receivers in the whole league so far this year. He gets hurt also. Said Puka gets hurt. Egbuka gets hurt. He basically scored the same thing, only 4.5. Harrison gets concussed after 5 points. Kyron gets you 17. Jalen Warren, 8. And Njoku gets you about 6. Travis Hunter in the flex, only 5.5. McLaughlin gets you about 6.5. And then your Vegas defense, good game against Tennessee. I believe you got a 12-point bump there from 21 to 33. So yeah, a good score from your defense also. But yeah, let's just be honest. This one came down to injured players. I thought Puka was going to light it up against Baltimore's defense, but he gets hurt early. Said Egbuka, Harrison, and Njoku all get injured in this matchup too. Said nobody wanted to win this one, but somebody had to, and fortunately it ended up being me. Perhaps a victory that saves my season. Wizard of Wimber moves to 3-3. They are now in 6th place, while Darkwing Jet is 4-2. He dropped to 2nd place. But yeah, just the way the season is going, I might not have any wide receivers for next week. Then Puka's on a bye. So you got to get to 7 or 8 wins. 8 to definitely get into the playoffs. 7 to be iffy. I just don't see a path for my team to get to 8. 7 maybe. Getting to 8 wins. I'm already to that point where I just don't. It's just not good. Travion he's not doing anything. These kind of all my late draft picks that kind of just needed somebody to pan out. None of these guys are panning out. None of these free agent pickups are panning out. Gibbs has been a letdown for the most part. Said Puka was fire till this week, and now just going on about my team. But I am just kind of treading water. At said 3-3. I have not said I've already not completely lost faith in my team this year, but I just do not see a path to the playoffs looking ahead. Plus, we had a shitload of trades, mostly Gags basically shuffling his entire team this week, which I'll let those guys get into on the podcast. Speaking of Gags to riches, he went up against Zach. Boomers deep this week, and he got throttled. The basement dweller was pretty close to climbing out of the basement, but thanks to Detling squeaking out a victory over Disco, said even with this victory, he's still at least temporarily in the basement. Boomers deep gets the victory, 187.15. No Justin Jefferson, no problem. Gags to riches, 136.75. For Boomers, we've got Dak going for 50. Cooper Kupp, 12. DK gets 20. Dubs gets 10.5. Pacheco, 6. Josh Jacobs, bunch of touchdowns, a lot of catches and stuff. He didn't get over 100 yards, but he did a lot of receiving. I don't know if he had a receiving touchdown there or not, but he got you 32 points. McBride gets a lot of targets there with Harrison going down and Jacoby Brissett as the quarterback this past week. He gets you 21 points. Theo Johnson in the flex there, only 4.5. Boswell goes for about 15, and then your Packers defense, surprisingly not a whole lot in a juicy matchup against the Joe Flacco-led Cincinnati Bengals there. Yahoo says 7. Ed, Zach, please. What the fuck is going? I don't know. I am not prepared for this stuff. Green Bay, Zach. He's a new guy. We're still learning his name. So, Yahoo says 7. Let's see. You got about 12 would be too much, so 9 up to 16 for your defense. But yeah, 50 from your quarterback. 50 or so from the Jacobs-McBride combo. Solid scores there for most of the rest of your lineup. Is enough to get past Gags to Riches this week. Though his whole team's going to be his lineup's going to be different when we talk about it this time next week. All right, Jaden Daniels. Gags needed about 100 points from him this week on Monday night, but he only got about not quite halfway. Gets you 42. Brian Thomas starting to come on after a quiet early first few weeks. Another touchdown for him. He gets 23. Jerry Jeudy goes for 9. Worthy goes for 10.5. Kareem, 4.5. Why couldn't Kareem Hunt do that last week? Saquon, 8.5. Mark Andrews, 6.5. Garrett Wilson, he gets injured in this matchup. He was in the flex. I think he's going to miss a few weeks here. He gets 4.5 points. Brandon Aubrey goes for about 7.5. And then your Patriots defense. Yahoo says 11. Gags, looks like you got a 9-point bump there to 20. But yeah, too many single-digit scores there when your opponent has said Jacobs went for 30, McBride goes for 20, and also DK went for 20, 50 from your quarterback, solid scores. Said pretty much up and down. Zach's lineup this week is enough to get it done. And so, despite that victory, though, Boomer's Deep stays in the basement. He is 2-4, still in 12th place, looking to climb out. And Gags to Riches drops to 3-3. He is now in 8th place. All right, then we got Biscuits and Porn versus Ed Lager. Ed Lager trying to bounce back after a defeat last week. He was rolling for a little while. But then I think he went down last week. And he's able to bounce back this week thanks to the I don't know what would be the second coming, was it? I don't know what it would be of Rico Dowdle. The emergence of Rico Dowdle. Ed Lager gets the victory, 171.3 to 139.8. For Ed Lager, his Herbert Keenan Allen stack. Let's see, 50 for Herbert, but only 6.5 for Keenan. Zay goes for 8.5. Devontae Smith, also 8.5. Kamara goes for 12.5. Dowdle goes for 37. Almost another, about 17 yards short of another 200-yard rushing game. That's crazy. Tyler Warren gets 18. Another touchdown for him. James Cook, only 8.5 points. He didn't do too much in that Monday night game. Jake Elliott, your kicker, goes for about 7. And then your Colts defense actually struggled against the Arizona Cardinals this week. Yahoo says 8. Looks like you got about a 6-point bump to 14. But yeah, Ed, that was enough. So basically Rico Dowdle was the difference maker in this matchup, and your quarterback matchup here, because you got 50 from Herbert there, but Biscuits and Porn only gets 34. So a 16-point difference there between your quarterbacks. JSN pops off. I think he just missed a bink, or did he have a bink? I think it was like a 61-yarder or something? Yeah. So not quite a bink there, but still 33 points from him. Ladd, just like Brian Thomas, he's starting to come on a little bit for you. 23 points this week. But yes, you got Herbert ended up being the better side of the receiving end for Herbert. But the rest of your team, I mean, you'll take 23 points from Ladd McConkey every single week if you can get it. But it wasn't quite enough this week for you. T goes for 11. Genty goes for 16.5. J.K. Dobbins, 4. Mason Taylor, only 1.2. Tony in that said the Jets, I did not get up and watch that game, but seemed like the Jets had a pretty miserable experience versus Denver there. Tony Pollard, only 6.5. Bates, the Detroit kicker, goes for about 5. And then your Buffalo Bills defense there got throttled pretty good on Monday night. That was like your big hope there in the Buffalo defense there. But so James Cook didn't really do too much, but you needed Buffalo's defense to hold up, and they really didn't do too much at all there for you. Biscuits, I think you actually, Yahoo says 8, but I believe we actually had to cut 3 points off of your score, and their actual score was only 5 points. But yeah, this matchup again was basically what was the final total here? 22 points, a little less than 22. But yeah, you need a little bit more from your quarterback than 34. But yeah, Dowdle goes off for 37. You'd hope for a little bit more from your defense. Said only 5 points. I think Mason Taylor actually had a pretty good game last week. He had 17 last week, but he only gets you 1. So yeah, Biscuits, a lot of things just didn't go your way this week. With the victory, Ed Logger is 4-2. He is in 3rd place, while Biscuits and Porn drops to 3-3, and he is in 7th place. All right, so let's see, what do we got? Another matchup. The final matchup that came down to Monday night was the not-so-tighty-whities versus Disco. I think tighty-whities was down. I can't remember exactly what the total was that you were down by, but it was pretty significant. But you had some strong players left to go. I think Disco just had Kyle Pitts, who didn't really do too much. Yeah, there's just a couple factors that set this matchup one way or the other, but ends up being perhaps saving his season. Not so tighty whities gets the victory over Disco. 178.35 to 166.2, so about a 12-point difference here. Some just good scores. Your Monday night guys showed up for you. Tighty whities here. Mac Jones goes for 42.5. Michael Pittman, 4. Drake London goes off, does almost all of his damage. I think he had like 8 catches and over 100 yards in the first half, and his touchdown, he only ended up with 10 catches, but I'm pretty sure he had at least 8 of them in the first half. He gets about 35 points there on Monday night. Then Adunze was another Monday nighter. He had 5 points. CMC went for 24. And then DeAndre Swift, 28.5 points. He is actually, his receiving, he had like a 50-yard receiving touchdown, which was the play that put the final dagger into Disco this week. And then I think Swift got, towards the end there, he got over 100 yards rushing, which tacked on the 3-point bonus there, kind of widening the final margin of victory here. So yeah, Swift went for 28.5. Hunter Henry, 5.5. David Montgomery, 8. Butker goes for about 5.5. And then your Chargers defense, Yahoo says 14. Looks like you got a 6-point bump to 20. But yeah, it was enough to just get past Disco this week. Said Josh Allen just really couldn't do too much. Probably. That said, oh yeah, that was another Monday night game. Yeah. So yeah, you need. It's set up to be great because Buffalo was trailing significantly at halftime. So the second half should have been the Bills and Josh Allen passing it all over the place in catch-up mode. But Falcons defense, just the full Falcons team came to play last night, and Buffalo just couldn't really get much going. Only 30 points from Josh Allen then. George Pickens pops off again for another 35 points. Jamar Chase gets 10 catches, 25 points. So it looks like Flacco might be feeding him, so you're okay there. I think Pickens isn't on your team anymore. Keon Coleman, 4 points. Achane, another big game from him. Multiple touchdowns. He goes for 34. Brees goes for 6. Pitts goes for 5. Rashad White, 17.5. Replacing, I said enjoy that while you got it there until Bucky White comes back. 17.5 points. Loop goes for about 3.5. And the biggest factor here in this matchup, Cleveland Browns defense. Yahoo says 3. I think your actual score was 6. We tack on 3 points there. Yeah, I think your actual score was 6 from your defense. You went with Cleveland against Pittsburgh, at Pittsburgh. I think Cleveland, who they said during the broadcast, has not won a game in Pittsburgh since, like, Tonto's demise began. Like, I think they said 2003, something like that, 2004. So yeah, as long as Tonto's demise has existed, apparently the Cleveland Browns have not won in Pittsburgh. So, something ridiculous like that. But just have to point out that Disco, if you had stuck with your Kansas City Chiefs defense, I'm pretty sure that you just squeak out a victory in this matchup. I'm sure you're already well aware of that. But it's my point. It's my job to review the things that happened and point out little things like that. Never salting the wound. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that if you had stuck with the Chiefs defense, who is really honestly, they're playing lights out. If you've watched them the past 2 or 3 weeks, they're looking good. The whole Chiefs, I hate to say this, but the Chiefs look like they are returning to form as the class of the AFC, like the best team in the AFC. Buffalo is just really, they're all over the place. There's nobody else that stands out. Kansas City's defense, I think the Chiefs, their offense, I mean, they're just stacked with receivers. Mahomes is playing well. Their defense is playing well. Like, I think that game last week, was it Buffalo? No, who was it? I think the Ravens game. Is that the game where Lamar Jackson got hurt? But yeah, I mean, they came out and that was the game where I think whoever lost that game was going to be 1-3. I think it was something like that. And in a bad spot. And I remember watching that game. The Chiefs looked like they were out for blood in that game, and they've just been playing solid ever since. Like that. In the games they've been on national TV, so able to watch them. But yeah, they look like a team on a mission right now. We'll see how long that lasts. But anyway, so yeah, Tidy Whitey's perhaps saves his season with this victory. Instead of dropping to 1-5, he's 2-4. He's in 11th place. Didn't really move anywhere. But Disco drops to also 2-4. He is in 10th place, right above Matt, which is just where Matt likes him. All right, and then our last matchup. This one did not come down to Monday night. We've got the the trash team, Hillbillies on PCP, going up against the Dub C Hooligans. And somehow Hillbillies on PCP is able to get a victory with that trash team over the Dub C Hooligans. 146.25 to 137.45. That score, I should add, means that just by like 2 points over, I should say by 2 points, Biscuits and Porn holds on. So he survives, and the Dub C Hooligans were eliminated from the knockout pool this week. With his, I think Biscuits had 139, Dub C's 137 gets him knocked out this week. This was an interesting one because we've got your stacks that you were involved in your trade. Goff and Amon-Ra versus Hertz and AJ Brown. Let's see, 60. This time it actually went in favor of the Dub C Hooligans. His stack gets 60, and Brian's stack gets 55-ish. See, pretty close. But yeah, let's talk about not Dub C, Hillbillies, who won this matchup. So Goff went for 42, Amon-Ra 13.5, 9 catches, but only 13.5 points. Wow, that's a surprising total there. Trey Tucker goes for 12. Kendrick Bourne goes for 19. Mac Jones resurrecting the corpse of Kendrick Bourne here. Quinshon Judkins, though, only 3.5 points. Gainwell goes for 9.5. Taysom Hill, 1 rush yard, 1 touchdown. I don't understand the. You didn't have much you could do because Bowers was out injured. Dalton Schultz was on a bye. I mean, there's tight ends that you could have picked up. But we all know Brian's love for Taysom Hill. And said the only thing he did was score a touchdown, 6.1. Haskins, your big free agency splurge, only 3.3. Looks like Vidal might be the guy here. And I think you traded away Amari and Hampton during the course of this week. So yeah, Haskins didn't do anything. Carlson gets you about 10. And then the Steelers defense saves your ass this week. I think probably it was the Philadelphia Eagles defense, honestly, that saved your ass this week, Brian. Yahoo says 12. Looks like you got about a 15-point bump to 27 because there were not really any binks this week. But yeah, it was enough to get past Dub C Hooligans by about 9 points here. Said Hurts goes for 46.5. AJ Brown went for 14. Devontae Adams goes for 8. Shaheed goes for 7. Chase Brown 9. Bam Knight, last minute plug and play, scores a touchdown for you, gets you 12.5. Tucker Kraft also gets you 12.5. Javonte with a quiet game in a close matchup here. Kind of surprised. It's probably his lowest total of the year so far by far. Well, he had a 12-pointer. That was the lowest he had before. Only 8.5 points there. Dicker the kicker goes for about 17 points. And the Eagles defense, Yahoo says 2. I believe that must have been the correct score because thanks to all those field goals from Dicker, looks like that's where your extra points came from. So yeah, the actual score for the Eagles defense was only 2 points. Basically, the factor in the matchup here when it comes down to it, single-digit scores from wide receivers, not going to get it done a lot of the times. But yeah, all sorts of different things that could go different in these matchups, especially when they're kind of low-scoring matchups. But yeah, both of you are now 3-3, while actually the Dub C Hooligans, despite defeat, he's in 5th place, while Hillbillies on PCP is in 9th place. All right, so that is pretty much it for week 6. Most said Gags lost Garrett Wilson, but most of the said I lost Puka. Don't know how long that's going to be. So Justin got hit pretty hard with Egbuka going down. Another hamstring injury. We'll see how long he's going to be gone. Harrison might miss a week there. Njoku, we'll see what happens with him. But yeah, so other than Egbuka, you might have CD Lamb coming back. So Justin, your problems are not too bad. We'll see where you can go from here. But yeah, you said Shawshank was able to squeak his way into first place by about 11 points here. All very close here, and the three teams who are all 4-2. Ed's got 1048, Justin's got 1051, and Shawshank has 1062. So actually, Josh is the highest point scorer in the league currently. What do we got? So we got Disco and not so mighty Whites here. Actually, in the hunt overall with the point totals here, pretty significantly ahead of several teams who are ahead of them. But it's only one game in the standings. So yeah, you might not feel good, Disco and Detling, being down there in 10th and 11th place. But you got 6 teams, half the league are ahead of you, only by one game here. So yeah, we got that nice symmetry to the standings here, with 3 on the top, 6 in the middle, and then 3 on the bottom. But yeah, so you're only one game behind a lot of half the league, and you got point advantage already on all of these teams here. So yeah, so there was a huge slew of trades this afternoon. Gags pretty much revamped his entire roster. I think he used 5 of his. I don't think he traded before today, but I think he used 5 of his 6 trades this afternoon. I'm not too keen on seeing Detling get the CMC Saquon combo, and he's going to have Hampton coming back later on in the season. He's already fairly stacked at wide receiver. So yeah, I don't know. Fortunately, I already played Detling. I'm done with him for this year, unless it's in the playoffs. But yeah, you guys loaded his team up. Gags, we'll see what happens there. That's I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll let those guys. Disco was involved in a lot of it. Dub C was involved. So we'll see if maybe Kevin drops in to the podcast again this week, so they can talk about all these trades. Let's see. Just take a quick look here. I'm not really going to get into it. We'll let those guys do their thing. Oh, what do we got? We got Gags and Disco doing one. Then we got Gags and Dub C doing one. We got Gags and Detling doing one. Then we got Gags and Disco again. And then we got Gags and Dub C again. So yeah, these trades, you could have been 3 instead of 5 if you could have just packaged all these guys together. But yeah, Pickens and Downs for Thomas, Aubrey, and Godwin. I mean, okay. Pickens, you're probably looking to unload him at his high point because CeeDee Lamb's coming back. But then you got Godwin. I don't like his injury status here. What they've been saying, I don't know. Especially from what he's coming back from, and the way that they're describing his injury, whatever it is right now. I don't like that. But it's basically Pickens for Thomas, which is fine. Kelsey for Worthy. Then Gags gets Scary Terry to combine with Jane Daniels there, but I mean he's injured. He hasn't played. He hasn't played in a while. I don't know how I feel about that. If he's because they were talking about it potentially being a long injury situation with him. He's already been out for a while. I mean Swift has been good. I don't know if he's worth Saquon. But yeah. Again, another person involved in the trade, just Scary Terry. I don't. He has a chance to play. No setbacks. Blah blah blah. He's been out for 3 weeks. We know what he can do, but yeah, you're taking risks here with somebody like him. Then Kyle Pitts for Andrews and Lawrence. So now, let's see, traded 2. So you got Sadisco. We know he loves BTJ. So now he's got Lawrence and BTJ to stack there if he wants to. And then Garrett Wilson said he's hurt for a while. Dub C trades for him and gets rid of Chase Brown. Not really sure what Dub C's running back depth looks like that he could afford to give him up. But so yeah, real quick, those were what the trades were. I mean, Gags, he looks like I made some good, solid moves that I'm not too. So I don't want to say impressed, but not overwhelmed by. Said looking at Kevin's running backs, I mean, Chase hasn't really been doing anything. Obviously, the domino effect from Burrow going down early. Said you're stacked with wide receivers too. You got Javonte, he's been good. Mason's been good. We'll see what happens when Aaron Jones is healthy again. You got Chuba, but we know what Rico Dowdle is doing here. So yeah, I mean, I think these moves have made Detling much more competitive than he was before. His record perhaps not indicative of the strength of his team. So yeah, and so Rashee Rice is coming back. Now he said CMC, Saquon, you're going to have Hampton coming back later on. So yeah, really that's why I said perhaps this matchup in week 6 here over Disco perhaps saved Detling's season, because if he goes on a run here, he was this close to being 1-5 instead of 2-4. That's a huge difference when it comes to trying to get to 7 or 8 wins. If he had we've only got 8 weeks left, and if he had been 1-5, he basically had to almost win out the rest of the season to have a chance at the playoffs here. But yeah, it's definitely increases your chances at 2-4. So really, it's a race to 7 or 8 at least. So yeah, it's gonna be a dogfight here. So we got all these 3-3 teams. Again, just so I know I said before, just trying to survive this year. I believe, and I've been laughing every single week because I think it said at the beginning of the week 1 review, like I said, I just had a really weird feeling that this was going to be, like a bad feeling, that this was going to be a weird year. And it's basically turned out to be that way. All these guys getting hurt. It's terrible. I hate to see it. It's had happened to me just as well too. And said, but just from my perspective, it said losing Burrow, and talked about it before, was just a real backbreaker for me. Just like a morale breaker. Like I was excited to have and see what he could do this year. Said him and Chase looked like they were on points in the preseason, and I mean they were set up to do great. Like this is a real morale breaker for me. Guys that later draft picks just kind of needed somebody to pan out. Nothing has panned out at least for me. So yeah. What else do you want to talk about? Yeah. So yeah, because again, it's just injuries. It's just going to be a weird year. Like I'm still kicking myself a little bit, and I know from watching the review or the podcast that nobody really gets to this point in the podcast. Otherwise, you would have known why I say that Brian's team is trash, because I definitely explained it. It's pretty funny watching you guys in the podcast being like, well, he's just shit talking Brian for no real reason, when I actually multiple times I do believe explained the reason. But yeah, again, just wanted last thing I wanted to talk about was I mentioned how Disco and Detling they're already over 1,000 points, but down in there at 10 and 11. So I know it's a little bit frustrating for you at least at this point in the season, but I maybe want to reiterate, and I think I've probably done this before. I'm so glad, and I hope it never happens, that we will never be like a best ball league where point totals are what gets you into the playoffs and things like that, like the top 6 point totals. This league I think Tonto's Demise would not survive. There would be no podcast. There would be no need for a podcast. There would be no need for a review. The head-to-head matchups is what makes this league so great. It said you can score 200 points and you can lose. You could score 120 points and you could win. You just have to win your matchup every week. Said these head-to-head matchups every single week. This is what makes and I hope that most people agree. It's most of the fun of the season is these head-to-head matchups. If we try to do it any other way, he said, I think it would kill the league. It would just take all the fun out of it. But again, I said I love the fact that you could score 200 points and lose, and then maybe the very next week score 120 and win. Like I said, you just have to win your matchups. You get these grudge matches against rivalries going. It's what makes it. It's one of the biggest fun factors in the league, and I think if we try to do it, even if like I've been in the leagues before where you had like divisions, if we split it up to like half and half, like I would hate that too. I love it the way it is. Just the matchups, the head-to-head matchups every week are what make the league so good. It said you could be the league leader in points, but you could be 2 and 4 or down there somewhere near the bottom of the standings. It's just a matter of winning your matchups. It doesn't matter what your opponent scores, you just got to beat them. And that's the beauty of the league and fantasy football. And sometimes the pain. But anyway, all right, that's enough from me. So we said the Dub C Hooligans were eliminated from the knockout pool this week. So according to my notes here, we got Kevin. So that's 6 teams out. So the teams that are out are Brian, me, Gags, Tree, Zach, and Kevin. So that means Jim's in it, Josh is still in it, Disco is still in it, Matt is still in it, Ed is still in it, and Justin. So half of us are gone, half of us are still in. So yeah, we said teams that are still in: Jim, Josh, Justin, Ed, and Disco, right? And Jim, Josh, Justin, Ed, Disco, and Detling. So yeah, J's and the D's. All right, I know Ed's not a D, but he does have a D in there. Ew, that sounded disgusting. Yeah. All right, guys, thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. Again, we do this every single week. It's not working. I apologize. I'm trying. No more injuries. May everyone's teams meet or exceed expectations. Everybody has fun. And we come back here next week to talk about the matchups in week 7. We've got some good ones. Let's see, 3-3 matchups. 6 teams are 3-3. 6 teams are 3-3, but we only get one matchup of 3-3s here. I get Zach, who's projected to kick my ass, even though he's in the basement. Josh versus Jim, that should be a good one. Justin versus Disco, that should be good. Justin, he's hoping CD Lamb comes back this week. Possum versus Dub C, that's the 3-3 matchup. Ed versus Gags, that should be interesting. You're currently projected to score almost the exact same amount. We'll see if Gags' trades can work out, get him back to winning ways. And then we've got a grudge match here. Detling versus Brian, Podcasters of Power, even though Detling doesn't really do too much anymore. Detling currently projected to win by about 30 points here. Honestly, other than like his shaky quarterback situation, Detling's team is stacked. Let's just be honest here, you guys. Saquon's been underperforming, but as the weather starts to change, we'll see what happens. It's gross having a CMC and Saquon stack there. But yeah, it's been a weird year, so anything can happen. That's it, guys. Thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do, and we will see you back here to discuss next week the events of Week 7. No more injuries. Stop. All right. I'm trying. I'm doing my best here, guys. All right, thanks, and bye-bye. See ya next week. Is that it? Anything else? I've said too much already. Bye-bye.